Shooter ready.
Yep.
Shooter ready. Stand by.
Shooter ready. Stand by.
Shooter, are you ready? Stand by.
Shooter ready. Yep. Stand by.
Ready. Stand by.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Shooter Are You Ready podcast. I am Midwest Savage. My co-host Paul is not a good friend. He is not here with me today. That's a lie. He's a wonderful friend, and I apologize that he's not here. But he has a new job, and we're not trying to get him fired by asking for the day off. But I'm very excited about the guest I have here today. I'm just very excited. So if I fanboy out, don't hold it against me. Jumping in the room with me right now, ladies and gentlemen, Justin McMillion, JMAC Customs. I'm so excited.
What's happening, dude?
What's happening now? If you're listening to this, I appreciate you. If you're watching this, it's going to be even better for you because you have to see this fancy room, this vault Justin is in, with many of fantastic rifles behind him, gold lions next to him. Just very dapper man. I love it. Justin, thank you very much, man. Like I said, this has been I've been trying to get this going. You're a busy man, as many people probably know. Family, business, kid, the whole nine. But thank you again. This is awesome.
No, absolutely. Appreciate you having me, man. Excited to chat with you.
Yeah, likewise. A little FaceTime here, get to know each other a little on a personal level. I'm just going to start it off because I'm sure everybody's asked the same questions. Everybody's probably asked you 1,000 times the same thing. You're probably bored of it, but we're going to start from the beginning. Tell me about young Justin. What were you like as a child?
Ooh, as a child, like
were you, were you a good kid? Were you always in trouble? Were you a straight A student? I mean, like, how was the childhood coming up?
Give me an age. I need to kind of.
Let's start at age 8 because everything before then, you really don't have a grasp on things. Age 8, 9 is like when you're starting to realize what's going on.
8-year-old me.
Like, did you play sports as a child? Did you
not play sports? I was not a sports person. I would say 8-year-old me was probably just getting interested in skateboarding at the time. I don't know that I fully gotten into it yet. That was more like middle school, high school type thing. But 8-year-old me was probably a really quiet kid that probably mostly enjoyed playing by himself with like hobbies and doing things. I really like Legos and tinkering at that time. So I was always constructive and I don't know. I always kind of at that age, I felt more aligned with adults than children. And my mom always used to tell me like we'd go to like other kids' birthdays parties that I'd go to school with and I'd be talking to the parents or something like that because I think little me had a more of a, I don't know, like a curiosity to know like what future life would be like as an adult. And, I'm currently a kid, so I'm more interested in what something else is than my current situation, which I think a lot of people fall in that trap. But young me was quiet, exploratory. I was an outdoors kid growing up. We had a farm. Our family has a farm up in Greenbrier County, and hunt and fish. And not too long after 8, probably about 12, I was running a 50 horsepower tractor, mowing the fields and doing West Virginia country stuff, really. So most of my childhood was the typical, not the more of the Gen X type childhood than the millennial childhood. Outdoors, 4-wheelers, motorcycles, fishing, hunting, camping, hiking, all that sort of fun stuff.
Nice. I respect the fact that you played with Legos. I still have all my Legos from when I was a child because my mom always said, like, as you get older, you like get rid of your toys and you give them to like your younger cousins or whatever. But my mom always like refused and like told me I could not get rid of my Legos because they cost so much money.
Yeah.
So, like, I have totes of like my Legos, my kids' Legos, just Legos over the years. That
my Legos exist somewhere. They're either in the attic here or my mom's attic. So she kept them all too. And I had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was probably something I was interested in at that time. I've got a whole collection of those. Nice. Batman, Rambo was one of my heroes. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Chuck Norris, like that era of action movie / TV. That was probably just getting revved up to get, you know, excited about that sort of thing.
A lot of similarities. I feel like we have a lot of things. I was a skateboarder kid in middle school, high school. When I was
That's
younger, like you said, loved Legos. I was, you know, all that stuff. So it
mountain
all
bike
makes sense.
too. I did a good bit of that. I got hurt several times doing that, doing dumb stuff, but you know, that's childhood.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was good that you came up as a constructive child with, you know, like you said, the farm, mowing, like kids these days. I'm not knocking kids these days, but I'm gonna knock some kids these days. They're different. You know, I mean,
Oh yeah,
they're very different. Like
definitely.
it's I feel it makes me feel old, like, because you know, when we were younger, you'd always hear the old people complaining, like, "Oh, you kids these days." And now I'm like, kids these days, you know, like, what are they doing? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me at all. But okay, fast forward from when you were a child. I did a little research here. West Virginia Tech College. Now, and then also you have a background in the coal industry, and I'm curious about this coal industry thing because I've always heard about coal miners, but I've never actually talked to somebody who worked in the mines. So, like, was that like a right out of high school in the mines type thing?
No, so I went to WVU Tech and got my engineering degree in electrical.
Okay.
So as I was going to Tech, I actually went to two other colleges, but we won't get into that. As I was going to Tech, I did I worked for a coal mining company as like an internship. And I worked in a rebuild shop where they rebuilt mining equipment. And I got really, you know, hands-on on large underground mining equipment. And then I learned how to weld, and I learned how to, you know, use oxygen acetylene, learn how to use a mill and a lathe, and, you know, basic shop tools in general. That probably was the kickoff of, you know, I had my engineering degree, but I kind of didn't know which direction I wanted to go to. So that kind of pushed me more in the maintenance side of things because I had a really good, you know, mechanical inclination in general.
Right.
So I started actually after I graduated college, I went straight underground. And I worked on third shift as it's called greaser is what the job is. It's an apprentice electrician greaser. And basically you go around and service the equipment all night and just, you know, put heavy oils in it, make sure it has hydraulic fluid, change the hydraulic fluid, the filters, you know, change the bits that they're used to cut the coal, and get the day shift ready to run coal as soon as they get there. But yeah, I've got 18 years in the mining industry. I worked underground, on the surface, at the prep plant, in the office, engineering. I did time studies. I kind of had a great opportunity to, you know, be not only just have the knowledge or learn about it, but have the firsthand experience of doing pretty much most roles in the mining industry.
Interesting. That's interesting. Now, I just saw something not that long ago that said, now, you're not still employed within the mining industry, are you?
No, so that kind of plays hand in hand with having a baby. You know, when we found out we were pregnant, I made a commitment to younger me that if and when I actually didn't want to have kids for the longest time, but if and when I did, that I was going to make sure that I spent the majority of my time on this earth caring for, being around, and raising firsthand my kids. I didn't want my kids to go to, you know, some sort of unfortunately, today, both parents end up having to work and they have to send their kids to daycare.
Yeah.
So I made a pact with myself that basically, you know, if we have a kid, I'm, you know, quitting the mining industry full time, and then I'm going to do, you know, JMAC and my other business endeavors. So I get to work from home now. I get to hang out with her as much as I want to. It's, you know, I still have to work, of course, but I do get to spend a lot of time with her. And it was kind of sad to hang up the mining industry thing because you do 18 years of anything and it's kind of part of you. So I miss the people. I don't miss the work because some of that was some brutal, dangerous type stuff. I mean, I do kind of miss the work. I miss operating heavy equipment. I absolutely love that. Any big piece of equipment you've seen on like a surface mine, I've ran it all the underground equipment. Not to say that I'm great at any of it, but I could get in it and operate it. I loved it. That was the type of stuff, especially the surface equipment, the really big dozers and loaders and those sort of things. Yeah.
That's awesome. Much respect for the blue collar worker, man. And the mining industry too. That's very impressive and crazy to me. I mean, I'm from Illinois. There's not a lot of mining going on in Illinois, so I mean, I'm not seeing it firsthand. But I'm sure in West Virginia, that's just a part of life, I suppose.
I'm fourth generation, dude. So yeah, my dad, my grandpa, and my great grandpa were all coal miners, and before that, it was logging. So it's a West Virginia thing for sure.
That's good. Oh, and speaking of West Virginia and you, I was doing some research last night and I was talking to my buddy and I was like, yeah, I got to have Justin on tomorrow. He's like, did you ever see him on Anthony Bourdain? I'm like, shut up. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, you're lying to me. He's like, Google it. Google West Virginia, Anthony Bourdain. I was like, no way. And then I seen it on there. And that was pretty amazing to me. How'd that all come about?
Well, so I got to talk a little bit more about family for you to understand this.
Yeah.
So my sister has been in the arts. She's done a lot of different things. She's done journalism. She's done filmmaking. She's done documentaries. And she was working with, I hope I don't get this wrong, I believe the producer of Anthony Bourdain's show at that time. And Tony wanted to visit West Virginia and make a mini episode. And my sister obviously is from here. So the producer asked Elaine, hey, what's some things that Tony could do while he's in West Virginia that's very West Virginia?
Right.
And she's like, obviously she's thinking of me. Like, my version of guns is not typically West Virginia. It's more hunting here. But the 2A in West Virginia, I mean, you go around and ask anybody, everybody's like pro 2A. There's very few people that kick it. And then, guns are part of life here. It's not like, should we own a gun or not? It's like,
right.
It's generational. It's part of daily life almost. And she's like, well, I need to ask, but my brother has this gun company and he likes to shoot guns, but it's not like the typical West Virginia shoot guns. It's more of like wild shooting guns. And, around here, it's still typically, now you got FRTs, but like back then, nobody had a bunch of machine guns just out shooting in their backyard. So she was like, I'll ask him and see what he says. So she calls me up and she's like, hey, bro, would it be cool if Anthony Bourdain comes to your house? I was like, what? I said, crazy. I don't even know what for, but yes, of course, have him come over. So we had the dude was, I have never talked to a free thinking individual like him in my entire life. I feel like he has enough perspective from life to not only look at politics from just a completely different lens, but actually take points from both sides, bring them together and make sense of it. And, he even made the statement while he was here. He was like, I asked him, I was like, I really need to know like what your perspective on firearms is off camera, because I know there's only so much that you can say on camera because it's your TV show and you don't want to get, he's like, honestly, I believe everybody should own a rocket launcher, assuming that they can get training for it and be approved to use it safely. And I was like, I love it. I'm like, I can agree with that 100%,
I'm behind that.
Not the forced training thing, like, but all in all, I think he had the right conception. He said, basically, I use the rocket launcher as the example, grenade launcher. I think he said grenade launcher, but he's like, the Second Amendment was written to be able to defend against a tyrannical government. And he's like, if the military owns it, we should be able to, because how are we going to defend ourselves against tanks, against F-20s? Again, he's like, so, if we're going to believe the Constitution and if we're going to understand and follow by the rules laid out by our forefathers, he's like, we need to have like a fair, even playing field. And the only way to have that is we should have access to everything. And then, of course, the training part, he's like, of course, but, I don't want idiots out there, just getting stuff that they don't need and, being a hazard to society. So, man, it was super cool. And my dad come down and fixed deer burgers for him on our grill. Yeah, my dad still hunts, not as much as he used to. He's getting a little older now. Of course, he's enjoying life. He's a farmer now, but he got to cook deer burgers, and we all ate. A deer he harvested their burgers here with us. So it was just a great day, man, and probably one of the highlights of JMAC for me. Someone coming in that has, not in this industry, to get a first-hand look on what we do and how we do it and why we do it. And it was a good stage for me to talk about the Second Amendment on national television. And it was international too, it was in Canada for sure. And I'm assuming the episodes that are airing now, the replays or whatever, I think they're overseas now. And of course you can watch it on YouTube. So being, given that stage to talk about the Second Amendment, that I said a lot more than they aired, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But I think what they aired, they didn't cut out the meat and potatoes. They kind of said what I wanted to say in a nutshell. But man, that was just an honor, and it was a great day.
It seemed like an awesome time. Then I like I said, I couldn't believe it after I watched it, but when I looked it up on YouTube, it was labeled as like one of the highest rated episodes, or like one of the most, biggest episode was the West Virginia one. And I was like, well, good for Justin for getting in on that one. That was awesome. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Dude, it was awesome for sure.
See, just suffering for success, Justin. That's all you're doing right now. Just living the dream, the American dream. No pun intended on that one. But okay. Young Justin played with Legos. He was in the coal mines. Got college degrees, doing pretty well. And then from what I gather, I mean, me and you've never sat down and talked about this, so if I'm wrong, correct me. But then it seems like you got into the business of surplus selling is how this all started.
I did. That's not how it started initially.
Okay.
I was always a hustler, man. I was selling stuff on eBay. I was buying and selling Thai Beanie Babies. Anything I could get my hands on for cheap and flip it. Dude, I was all about it.
I can't hate you for that, man. You got to make $1.
Like, even in college, I had 3 jobs. I'd literally go wash cars during the day, and I would get off at 5 p.m., walk across the parking lot to Applebee's where I served tables. And then on the weekend, I don't care. People can make fun of me. I worked at Abercrombie & Fitch selling clothes. So like,
okay. Hold on. Now we're going to pause this for a second. Cause I talked to my guy Possum last night and he told me, were you a model?
Not intentionally.
Okay. Cause he's like, ask him about being a model. I'm like, no way. He's like, ask him about it. You got to ask him about it.
That's a part of my life I'd like to leave in the early
2000s. Okay. That's fine.
But at that time, I was in college, of course, but working at the mall in general was awesome. So like you get to meet all these new people, and it was more about like meeting people and having new connections and that sort of thing. Obviously, you don't make any money folding clothes and putting them away. But yeah, and then of course you get awesome prices on clothes. And I was, starting late middle school, early high school, I was really interested in dressing nice. Not like flashy by any means. And it wasn't necessarily 100% about like brand names and labels, but it was more so like, I want to be presentable because, I want people to take me serious no matter what I'm doing. I think that started in high school. And I actually, this podcast, I'm actually telling way more than any other, and you've asked some really good questions. But for the school, what do they call that when they vote on things? There's a name for that.
A vote?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, like most popular or whatever.
Oh,
yeah. So I got best dressed, coolest ride, and cutest couple.
There you go.
High school. So yeah, at that point I was into like dressing nice and clothes and that sort of stuff. So
what was your best ride in high school? What'd you have?
So I had a 1991 Ford F-150 2-wheel drive, on full hydraulics with 14-inch cylinders all the way around. Had a cut through with 215s in the bed, of course, cut through into the cab. And, I competed in stereo competitions at that time. And that was like 143 decibels is what I was hitting, which at that time was awesome. Now it's nothing. You can do that with 2.8s, it seems like. But I was really big into cars like mid to late high school. And then before I graduated, I actually got a 1994 Cobra. And that was, it was in 2002. So it wasn't a new car, but it was still a Cobra. And I was in high school. So, it was pretty cool. The 94 was the 5.0 engine in the newer body style. And I was, I guess, a Ford guy at that time, it seemed like. I still have the F-150. It's out here in it's in HQ. Yeah, I'll have to send you a picture of it. It lays frame, and then it comes up where it's got I-beams in the front. It comes up 21 inches from floor. It's just a nuts build, dude.
That sounds interesting. No wonder you won best ride. I'm sure that the guy behind you was driving like a Miata or something. Now, see, the good thing Paul's not here. Paul's a Miata guy. I just always, every time I have to reference like a small, dumb car, I throw out the word Miata. And Paul usually gets offended if he's online or on the air with me. Okay, so it didn't start with surplus. You were just
we got way
baby. That's what we do here. I'm sorry, I go off on tangents every now and
then. So going back to the mining industry, I had just gotten into firearms. Let's call it like 2008. Obama had just gotten elected. He's, pushing his rhetoric on national TV about gun control. And I had been a big video gamer all through, really starting in middle school all the way through college, and Halo and Call of Duty and all those sort of things. That was like the peak of my interest. And I would just literally, my mom was at that time, she was like very concerned about me. Like, are you going to make anything of your life? Because I would literally, my waking hours, when of course I wasn't at work or at college, was in the middle of the night. I would just play online all the time. We would do 16-person LANs at my house, and people would be leaving the house at 5 a.m. And then I don't know if you remember this, like the old Xboxes, you could do a router, or not a router, a router, and then hook 4 Xboxes to that router. And you could play 16 players. So we would do that in the upstairs of my parents' house and play to like the wee hours of the morning. But yeah, so Obama, I'm way off track. Obama was pushing these rhetoric. I was already into video games, which made me be interested in guns. And I was like, you know what? I need to go get an AR-15 and an AK-47 before they get outlawed, because that's kind of what it felt like at that time. So I went to a pawn shop that I knew the owner of, and I picked up a Wasser 10, which at that time, Wasser 10 was not a great thing. It was felt like the action was full of sand, and you literally had to spend like 2 or 3 days cleaning it out and, polishing the rails and all that stuff to make it. And then the mags didn't fit the mag well.
Because they cut them.
Century Monkeys used a Dremel, and so I got that. Then I got a DPMS AR-15, and I started tinkering around with them. And the people I worked with, I was telling them about them, showing pictures and that sort of stuff. And the accessories at the time were kind of not very good.
Right.
But some of the coal executives that my dad knew, my dad was telling them that I was tinkering with guns. And they're like, well, why don't we have him build me a gun? Because I'm into guns. And I was like, well, yeah, I'd love to do that, but I don't have a business or a license or anything like that, so I can't really build a gun for you because you require an FFL to do that. So the first part of JMAC Customs is I did these full-on custom builds for the coal executives. And we're talking like 50 cals with an optic and a Boris ranging scope. And I mean, like anywhere from like $10,000 to like $25,000 to $30,000 guns. And it was great at first. We would, I'd have a guy call me up and he'd be like, hey, I'm going on a hog hunt in June. I need a 308 with a short barrel, and it's got to have a silencer, and I need a thermal optic. and I would throw him out some options, and we would, build the gun from there. But like for that one specifically, I got a Scar 17.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we did a thermal optic, and I can't remember what suppressor that would have been at the time. Maybe been like a SDN6 from AAC or something. And there wasn't very many options back in the day. And we'd throw that together. He'd take it on the hunt and just be like super ecstatic, because the thing that most people, in an executive role, or people that make a lot of money, they typically don't have a lot of time. So it's like that balance. And it was so nice for him to just open the case, go hunting, point, pull, done.
Right.
So like, knowing what optic to put on it, and, enhancing the trigger, sighting it in, all those sort of things. I got, the word got out that I was doing that for people. So I was, I did a pretty good job at first doing JMAC customs builds. And then after that, you kind of run out of people in the Cole executive realm, and they only buy, so many guns a year.
Right.
So we kind of had to make some sort of business plan on like, okay, this is great when it's great, but what are we going to do, in the other times of the year? And we would go to Knob Creek and pull a trailer, or, take a truck, and we would just absolutely load down with ammo cans and parts kits and you name it. And we would go and set up at gun shows selling. Dude, we made a killing on ammo cans. I'll never forget that. We were buying them for like $5, and we'd get like a full trailer load, and we were selling them for like 15 at gun shows. Now, granted, about 1 out of 5 you can't sell because it's dented or rusted or whatever. So you're taking a risk on, the quality and the condition. And then we had to replace the seals on some. But anyway, at first, that was kind of the thing. And it just goes back to the Beanie Babies, buy something cheap, flip it, and make some money, and take that money and reinvest it back in the business, and keep doing it and growing it. And yeah, the gun show phase was exciting and brutal all at the same time, because it seemed like, and this is a gun show in general, no matter what you bring to the table and what you're exhibiting and what you have for sale, it's like somebody always wants something else.
Oh, yeah. You don't have any of these? No, sorry.
Yeah, knowing what that is tough. But yeah, back in the day, like the joke is still active with my wife and I. I couldn't tell you how many people would come up to the table. Keep in mind West Virginia gun shows, and they would literally say, "You got any clips for the SKS?" And like, still to this day, it's the biggest joke between Ash and I. Like, when we hear the word clip, that phrase comes immediately out of our mouths. But yeah, that was a whole different time, man. That was
oh yeah, and it's like like you were saying, you had to hurry up and buy because of the politics, and it seems, I mean, for me, it is terrible right now. I live in Illinois, and it is like awful up here right now.
Yeah.
Like I can't technically buy anything at the moment. So I have a part-time job with Mark Krebs, and I test a lot of things. I get to test a lot of things. That's the only way I can like get something new and fresh in my hands. Mark's like, "Go test this." And I'm like, "Yes, thank God I get to test something." But I mean, I'm not gonna get into a whole politic realm here, but it's getting worse and worse. And I feel bad for people like myself who have to live with, just somebody putting their hand on, you can't buy this. And it goes back to the Anthony Bourdain with the grenade launcher. Like, why can't I have it? Like, I have no criminal record. I'm not, I'm pretty safe and reliable with things. It's ridiculous.
Exactly.
But
I got
whatever.
Mad props for Mark. I was a Krebs fan, early 2000s. He's been doing it for a long time.
Oh yeah. That's another thing that's fascinating with me is like, I'll go to his shop and then I'll see a box with your sticker on it. And I'll be like, "What Justin send you?" He'll be like, "Oh, he sent me this and this." I'll be like, let me see it. And so I always get excited when I see a box with some JMAC stickers or something peeking out of the corner of it. And I'll be like, "Mark, what's in that box?" "Oh, Justin sent me some stuff." "Oh, let me see that." And speaking of, I mean, I'm jumping far ahead here, but we'll just jump ahead into this. I've seen the new wood grips that you got. I seen the hand stops that you got. Very, very nice looking, I must say.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm surprised you jumped into the wood game. I mean, I'm not honestly surprised. Yeah, there we go. Is that the plum color?
This is the plum with the plum mag. That's a Tula Fleck. Yeah.
Nice.
And here is the Bakelite, or the baked orange is what we call it. Bakelite orange.
Yeah, see, like I said, I was surprised at first, but then when I sat and thought about it, I'm like, I'm not really surprised Justin's doing this. Like it was only a matter of time before he got into something like that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So with JMAC, okay, I just have to praise you on your social media presence because it's fantastic. And aside from just JMAC itself, like you, Justin, your social media, just like I was just scrolling through your Facebook here, and I love like the business aspect of posting things. Like, this is what you need to do. I like all your little business tips. I always pay attention to them because a lot of it makes sense. And don't take this the wrong way, Justin. Please don't. But I'm sure you see it, and I'm sure you hear it. I notice some people like, oh, he's driving around in that fancy car, just being flashy. I'm like, yeah, he is. He has every right to. He worked for that. Like, why wouldn't he? You know, and it's one of those, if you want it bad enough and you work hard for it, like there will be a reward at the end here. And I love seeing it. I really do. And I think a lot of people should take notes of some of the things you're trying to hand out, like dropping a little knowledge to people here and there about being a business owner and taking, risk and pushing forward to make things happen for yourself.
Well, the cars is, and if you watch the videos, you'll know the cars are a business expense.
Oh, of course they are.
And you can fully write off a vehicle over a certain weight in a single year.
I was just going to ask you that because I read something about the G-Wagon the other day that it's like over the weight. And I was like, and I just saw the video of it. And I was like, I bet Justin knows that it weighs that much.
So my wife's dream car was a G-Wagon.
Right.
And I was always like, I'm never in my life paying that much for a vehicle. Because West Virginia country boy, I'm not really, it's cool, but it's not my type of cool. You know what I mean? And, this was COVID and everybody, like, business was crazy because you couldn't go anywhere. So like we were just selling a ton of stuff. And my accountant comes to us at the end of the year and he's like, we need some big expenses fast. I was like, okay. So taxes is the worst thing about having a business. You either give your money to the government or you buy something to, the goal would be to buy something to improve your business for the next year and grow it. But, when you're faced with a last minute decision, it's kind of hard to say, what you're going to do with that. But like my wife knew exactly what to do with that evidently. So,
good call, Ashley.
100% tax write-off in a single year. And, it's actually been, it's a great ride. But yeah, it's, I'm not like to a certain point, like I said, I like to dress nice. But I'm not like a flashy type person. I mean, I like nice cars, but I don't like expensive cars personally. But yeah, I know I get that all the time, but it's a tax write-off.
I'm waiting to see the.
I literally have a 2008 Toyota FJ Cruiser, and I would just as rather drive that. I'm not, whatever. Or my old dude, I drove my Deuce and a half to the gym the other day, like, and I don't even hardly leave the house, and I hopped in the Deuce and a half and went to the gym. So that's what I would much rather drive. But,
okay, yeah. I was just waiting to see the JMAC Maserati one year. I'm just waiting to see.
I doubt.
No, okay. Speaking of the gym,
it's not a tax write-off.
Yeah. I also noticed, speaking of gym, this is another thing. You give business tips. I noticed you've been posting a lot of the workouts, the weighted pull-ups, if you will, which I think, I'm struggling with it. I try to work out. I'm a sucker for food that tastes good. Like when I fall off the wagon, I fall off the wagon hard. And it's like, I'm trying to eat good. Like I'll eat good all week, grilled chicken, vegetables at work, I'll prep my lunches for all week. Friday, Saturday comes around. I'm at the house with the wife and the kids. And I was like, what do you guys want to eat? Oh man, a pizza sounds good. I'm like, oh, it does. And then like last night I had pizza and I feel like terrible for it. But working out, being a business owner, these are things. I mean, the working out's huge for people. And like coming from a guy who shoots a lot of competition, not a lot, enough. You know, I travel to quite a few things every year. That the fitness part is huge. And I think a lot of people don't really take that in when it comes to competing. Like I'm not talking bad about people, but I see a lot of people at these competitions where I'm like, that dude needs to start walking at least, 5,000 steps a day. Cause I guarantee he's not even getting 5,000 steps in a day.
Yeah. And this goes back to the flashy cars thing too. I think once you've achieved a certain level of success, you can't buy happiness. And I know a lot of people, you see the post on Instagram, like people smiling, flashing money and all that stuff. Like that's not true, dude. True happiness comes from being able to wake up, control your schedule, enjoy your day, spend time with family, and have true freedom of time.
I was just going to say freedom. That's it. All boils down to freedom. I mean,
that's true happiness. And then wealth, in my personal opinion, is health. So anybody that it's in there, like, let's say 50 plus, 50, 60, 70, 80, they would, if they could stay the same brain, the same heart, everything, not heart physically, like I'm talking about emotional, and then transplant themselves into like a 25-year-old body, they would do it in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
But they won't put in the work to give themselves the, the competitive edge. And when I say competitive edge, I'm talking about for survival.
Yeah.
I really got heavily into this when when we found out we was pregnant. I'm like, oh crap, I'm out of shape. Like I wasn't like, overweight obesely, but I wasn't in shape at all. And it hit me. I'm like, I got to be this little girl Superman. Like that's the ultimate. She's got to look up to me. And then when we're out and a situation comes up, she's going to look at daddy and be like, take care of it, and I need to be that dude. So, health is wealth, man. And the healthier you are, the longer you live, the happier, the happier you can live through late life. You might live to you might live to make it to 90, but what's your quality of life if you don't have muscle, if you don't have stabilization, if you don't have balance? And I took a blood test and I had a lot of things that were, out of whack. So I drank heavily. When JMAC was successful, we were just, I'm not saying when it was successful. I'm saying like we were celebrating all the time, when it first got to where we were like, oh my gosh, I never thought it could go this big. And it was just alcohol. And I was just literally killing myself. And my liver was screaming at me. My check engine light was on, and the blood test showed that. Luckily, I quit drinking completely 3 years ago on New Year's Eve. I drank a 24-pack of Corona with CW Gunworks by myself. I drank the whole 24-pack, and I looked around and I was thinking, you know what? I could probably drive. And at that moment, it just hit me. I was like, why would I even think that I could drive after drinking 20? If my tolerance is that high, I have a serious problem. And, it was like the next day I just talked to Ash. I'm like, listen, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, this is not doing anything to help us. And it's only making, our health worse. And it's just really, what are we trying to escape from? Because that's all alcohol is. It's an escape from reality. And I loved our reality. So why are we trying to continuously escape from this every weekend or, every event? So we sat down and we both agreed like, yeah, let's try it. And, it doesn't happen immediately, but after time, we really just don't even want to drink now. And that's you can still be strong and athletic and drink. So I'm not like, don't feel bad if you drink, that's your lifestyle choices. I don't care. But I will say that was the start to realizing that the health is wealth, and we're poisoning ourselves with not only alcohol but sugar and all these other things that we consume, processed foods. And we could have an entire podcast on this, but I won't take up your time with it. But yeah, man, health is wealth, and that's the ultimate. If you could give someone anything that has the most amount of value, it's not money, it is health in general. So, and you can't give it and you can't buy it. You have to earn it.
Yeah.
So
Well, see, that's the sad thing nowadays. There's a lot of the what's the one thing a lot of the people are doing, the Ozempics and like crazy amount of peptides. Like, well, I could just do this and lose a bunch of weight. It's like, yeah, but like you didn't earn it for one. Like, how good do you feel about it? You know, and it's like that's can't be the best thing for you to lose weight. You know, that's crazy. I've seen a lot of people personally, like I don't care. He doesn't listen to this podcast. I got this foreman at work, this manager. I don't like him, right? And this dude was totally unhealthy looking in the last year. He looks like a Scooby-Doo villain because he's got like skin hanging off him and he's just creepy looking. And I'm like, man, like I know you didn't do that the right way. Like, how can you feel proud about yourself? You know, but whatever, good for him, I guess, because he's losing weight. But it's like, it feels better if you earn it, honestly. Like I said, I've been working out. I've been gaining some muscle. I'm slowly losing weight, but I fall off wagons hard. And I know I'm gonna have to go to the gym tomorrow and pay for it. But coming to, you know, like I said, in the competition world, like about a month ago, I did this one in Illinois. They called it the Cornfield Crucible. And after I explained it to my boss, he is like, that competition just sounds like somebody put it together who does CrossFit and wanted everybody else to do it. And I was like, yeah, it does. Because honestly, there was like a stage where you're behind a VTAC and there's like an 8-inch steel plate 25 yards away. All right. And you got 4 pistol magazines with 10 rounds each. And you shoot at that steel 10 times. And if you miss, you got to do 2 burpees. But then after your 10 rounds is gone, you had to run a quarter mile and come back and do it again. So you ended up running a whole mile and doing a handful of burpees if you missed. So after that first string, I ended up doing the 4 burpees. And as I'm running my first quarter mile, I'm coming back like, I'm not doing any more burpees. I was like, I gotta slow down. I gotta just aim, take my time, you know, and I'm hitting this plate. And I think I only ended up doing like 2 more burpees after that first one because I was like, I'm hitting this target. I am exhausted already from just running the first quarter mile. And then there was a lot of like picking up 80-pound medicine balls and throwing them over this wall. And okay, now you're done. Now run, you know, 500 yards over to there and come back. And I'm like, why did I sign up for this? But I'm glad I did. It was terrible. It was exhausting, but it was like a good, you know, reality check. Like, okay, you're not in as good a shape as you thought you were. You know,
that sounds like the Spartan race. I did that back in September, and some of the penalties were worse than the actual activity itself. Yeah. So you didn't want to get a penalty, dude, like at all.
See, and I kind of, after I did it, like I was dreading it the whole time. Like, it's 2 weeks away. Oh, it's a week away. Oh my God, it's tomorrow. You know, and then after I did it, I was like, yeah, it sucked. Like my legs were killing me. I felt exhausted. I was like, but I'm glad I did it. Like I would do it again, 100%.
So that's CrossFit in a nutshell for me. Like I said, I drove to the gym the other day. I work out at home. One of my buddies talked me into doing a CrossFit day. I'm not a fan of it. And literally I get 40% of the way through it and I'm like ready to quit. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not a quitter. You gotta just keep pushing through this. And I finished it. And like, once I was done, I was like, I felt like I accomplished something today because it's just brutal. Dude.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's all about breathing. And you just get gassed so fast and then you can't breathe. And you just, it's a mental game at that point.
Oh yeah. 100%. So me and you are in the same agreement here. You get in shape. If you're listening to this, I hope you're at the gym listening to this is what I'm trying to tell people.
There you go.
You know, one thing. Okay. So you have the engineering degree. You got the JMAC thing going. I have to praise you on creating things that people need and want. Like, okay, you make fantastic hand guards, the grips, the stocks. The one thing you came out with, I can't remember how long ago it was, the little QD mount that goes over the, what am I trying to, by the gas tube where the sling is that always burns your hand. Yes, that. When you came out with that, I was like, what is this? And then I was like, this is genius. I was like, this is something everybody burns their hand on that. You always burn your hand on that.
Yeah.
And I was like, amazing. This one little piece that nobody knew they needed, but everybody wanted something to quit burning their hand. I was like, this is amazing. I love it.
It solved multiple problems at once. So, of course, the handguard retainer is the upper or the gas tube. That's the first things that you're going to get burnt on when you're shooting an AK and you get it hot enough. I don't care what handguards you have or whether it's classic wood or whatever. That's what's going to burn you. And it's usually the sling loop that gets you. but obviously you want to keep distance from your hand. So like you can still kind of touch it, but you're not getting full on contact with it and burning the crap out of yourself. And then the second thing, we're not the one that created or, designed the first sling loop cutout handguard, right? There was a bunch of these before us, but the problem is when you cut this much material out, you're making this front part really weak. So now we're bridging that back and completing that, we have continuity of metal now. So now this is strong again. And then of course, lastly, we've got the sling point, and it works out really nicely. Going to be kind of hard to show on video, but when you hold it like this, that sling falls like kind of right in between your thumb and your finger, and you kind of have control over that sling. You'll see a lot of guys, even like competitive shooters that do it all the time, they're always fighting their sling. But when you got that right here, obviously your sling's not going to move. It's in a QD, but your hands go on the same place with that sling every time. So you're not constantly fighting, your sling, whether it's above your arm, below your arm, all that stuff. I hate slings in general. So like, I'm not a sling guy.
Yeah.
And what makes me even like the most mad is when you got slings in your safe and you try to move things around, or slings on the wall.
Get caught on everything.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I know that the practicality of a sling, and yes, of course, my truck gun and any type of gun that I'm using, that I'm carrying, of course, I have to have a sling on it. But for shooting in the backyard, I don't do slings. I've had too many near misses with slings, like knocking guns over and almost getting myself burnt with suppressors, and that fun stuff.
All right, Justin, just for a laugh for myself, just because we talked about this, what is the part number to that sling mount cover, the adapter we just talked about?
RCQD, retainer cover, quick disconnect.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's if anybody wants to order one, there it is. But I was just praising Justin on all his acronyms and his stuff for all the parts, and it's just how he can rattle them off is just amazing to me. Because we'll get into this, right? When I first met you, you probably don't remember. It was, we just got done with a Kalash Bash. I didn't make it this year or last year, but I was there the year before. You probably don't remember me because I was dressed up as Mick Foley when I met you. Because I was all LARPed out.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say Kalash Bash. So I was like, if we met somewhere else, I hope I did.
Yeah, right.
No, Kalash Bash for sure.
So it was okay. I've been to many competitions where everybody has full autos for rent. You give them a crisp $20 bill. Here's a magazine. You have 1.4 seconds of fun. There you go. That was the $20 bill. But when me and the wife went, your booth by far was the best. Okay. I shot a couple full autos there, but like we walk up to the booth. I think Ashley was there, and she was like, yeah, it's this much money. Here's your ticket. Go back there, see Justin. I was like, okay. And I gave you the ticket, and I was like, I want to shoot that one. You're like, all right, man, here you go. It was over. I was like, oh, all right, cool, thanks. And you're like, here's another magazine. And I was like, oh, okay. And I shot another one. And then you were like, you want to shoot this one? And I was like, I don't have another ticket. You're like, no, man, just shoot it. And I was like, okay. And me and the wife probably shot 4 or 5 different things off the one ticket I bought. And I mean, I was like, this guy just keeps giving me guns. This is amazing. And we're just shooting them. This is so much fun. And so I was like, wow. I was like, Justin's awesome. I was like, this is great.
This is why I stay in trouble with my CFO.
Oh, I bet. I didn't mean to put that all on air, but yeah, it was so much fun.
No, man, like you got to cover ammo. Obviously, we're not there to make a profit. You don't make money at Kalash Bash. It's a great event, but there's no money to be made there. But you have to cover ammo, and then of course you're going to break things. It always, if we have guns go down or break something, we got to repair. But to me, if somebody shoots a gun and they're just so excited about it and just truly enjoy it, that is better than any, like, that's the ultimate dopamine, man. Like, I love someone else enjoying what I love just as much. You know, it's like, I would much rather watch somebody shoot a machine gun and just like be the most excited and the happiest, because that makes me truly happy. So I'm sure you come up and you got like, I don't remember your exact reaction to shooting the machine gun, but I'm sure you totally enjoyed it and just loved every second of it. Like, this dude's having a good time. Let's just
it was great. It was great. And then even the wife was just like, he gave me another one. I'm like, just shoot it before they change their mind. You know, And I was like, it was great. And it was so much fun. But then like after that, I think I reached out to you because I was making a video on different furniture types. And I was just like, hey, do you have like an old handguard or just a beat up one I can talk about? And you're like, yeah, give me your address. And I was like, okay. And then like I reached out to so many other companies that was like back and forth with them, like, oh, get a hold of us next week. Yeah, sure, I'll call you back or something. But like it was you and I can't remember one other company, but like you were like quick to respond and like, yeah, here's this. And I was like, okay, do you want me to like white glove this and not scratch it and send it back to you? Like, just have fun with it. I was like, all right. Thank you very much, Justin. You're the man. And I must say, this JMAC'd out WBP that I have here, the furniture's lightweight, but it's very sturdy. It's awesomely made. There's no sharp edges on it. Everything's very well crafted and made. And I props to you, man, for a well-made in America. We're gonna get on that right now. The in America parts, which is huge because again, I hate bringing this up, but a lot of people, I see it. I'm like, oh, that stuff's just too expensive. It's too much money. I'm like, yeah, okay, go spend half the money and buy something that's crap. And then you're going to be mad that you spent half the money on something that's crap. And you're going to end up buying something else and still spending the money you could have spent initially to buy something good. You know,
And
that blows my mind.
You can't sell because nobody else wants it either.
Yeah, exactly, because it's crap. And it blows my mind. It's like I've bought many a muzzle devices from you. I've bought the rail dust cover from everything I've bought from you. I've never like set it back down and went, I wish I wouldn't have bought that. Everything's top notch, in my opinion. And I'm not just, I mean, I got the JMAC shirt on. I'm not just, stroking your ego, Justin, but it's honest. It's quality stuff. And I'm very, very pleased with it. And the made in America thing, like I said, is huge.
I appreciate that. I didn't mean to dismiss that by moving on to what No, definitely appreciate that and glad to see that I am. You saw me setting up in here. I am so particular. It doesn't have to do with just product design. It's in many areas of life, but a typical, a true gauge on how the value of your products is how does it sell on the secondary market. And I love when I see my products being posted in the groups for sale at just like MSRP or a little bit lower. So it's like, that's a win because what they paid for, it sells used for or slightly used. So the value is inherent to that product. People like it so much that it's worth the same or slightly less in a used condition. And when you can deliver that sort of value at any price, I think it's a major win.
Right. It's a huge win because there's been times, I'm not going to lie, Justin, there's been times I've looked at parts on your website and I'm like, let me see if I can find it secondhand somewhere else. And like you said, it's like a few dollars less. And I'm like, well, I'll rather just buy it new because I know there won't be scratches and I get stickers. So like, why not? And it's amazing. And then like the CNC work, like I said, is just amazing. And I'm trying to remember the first JMAC thing I bought. I think Clay told me you need to get the four chamber brake from JMAC on that gun. It'll work a lot better. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah. And it was years ago and I bought it and I was like, yes, this is definitely better than the brake I had. I was like, I am sold now. I was like, I am 100% sold on this. And it's just, I don't know. I can't brag about the quality enough, but you do have some new products coming out. And there's one I have to ask about. We talked about this, but people have asked me to bring this up, the adjustable stock.
And I told you not to bring it up, but that's it. No, I'm just messing. So the adjustable stock is an amazing project. And man, it's been round after round of prototyping. So initially, and let me show up before we get too crazy about it. But, our adjustable stock, I'll start with the design concept, and then I'll move into kind of where we are in the testing. I wanted a fully adjustable stock that required 0 tools and that adjusted as quickly as possible. That sounds really simple, but it's not. There's a lot of mechanisms and a lot to be fast and robust. Sometimes kind of is not, they don't really meet eye to eye. So that was the major challenge first. So this was the first prototype we ever made. And this is the one that went to SHOT Show, and it went to NRA, and it went to a couple other events. And this thing, I had to lube it up really good before the show because it has been beat to death. Still functions, so that's a good thing. But, you've got the length of pull adjustment, which is just a simple button here.
Right.
Crossways. And we got 2 rods here, and these rods connect to our folding mech. This is the SIG interface. So just like your MPX, MCX, like their original folding mech, they kind of set the standard for all of the 1913 folding mechs and that sort of thing. So initially we did this design, and I don't know if you can see that, but we have rings that go completely around these rods. So we never broke a rod when we were doing our testing, but we were able to defeat the button and then deform it enough to where it would get stuck. So the stock would be functional, but it wouldn't adjust. So we knew from this point we had to make the rods and the button interface beefier. So instead of doing a full ring all the way around, we did key notches only in the insides. And we made the rods 60% larger, which increased the surface area that the button had to connect with the rods. And dude, you can't, I mean, I'm sure you could break it, but we've tried everything that would be considered somewhat normal and extreme use of an actual firearm without actually beating it off a tree or something. Right. That's something, that it would never experience. Yeah. And it's held up extremely well. So super stoked about where that design is now. But the other aspect of this stock that we wanted, and the whole idea here is with an AK, you've got a dust cover with an optic rail and an EOTech on it. When you use a factory stock with that, it's a chin weld, like your chin's here. So if this EOTech for some reason fails, you can literally ditch this and then grab the stock and adjust it all the way down, and you're on irons. If you have something that's not quickly adjustable like that and your optic dies, you can't even see your irons unless you're looking like at the back of the buttstock like this. Right. So we wanted to have that, oh crap, my optic failed and now I need to adjust my stock, my cheek rise. And we looked at a bunch of different ways to do that, but we decided to do something that we've not seen done anywhere else. And our cheek riser is part of the butt plate. So as you adjust the cheek riser, it's sliding with the butt plate itself. Now, what that does, if you think about it, your cheek and your shoulder are the same distance apart always. So there should be no scenario where you're going like this or like this to get comfortable on the stock. That should be, we're going to use AR-15. It's the most common butt stock probably in the world, not in the world, in America. You should have the same surface area here and here. So when you shoulder this, it's here. And then if you're on irons, it's the same, here. Nothing changes with that. So we made this adjust together to allow that similar, same feel, no matter whether you're shooting irons or optics or wherever the stock is. The other thing this does is this gets this butt plate up higher, which also reduces the recoil of the firearm because it drops your bore axis. Yeah. Instead of the butt plate being way down here and the cheek riser way up here, which you're not getting that benefit of, this stock provides that benefit because, you're actually dropping the entire firearm versus just raising a cheek riser. So we're super excited about the design, but it has taken way too long to get it to the market. And then this year has been absolutely insane with last year was brutal for everybody in the industry. The demand dropped, sales dropped. And then this year, early this year, the demand started picking up again. And we're sold out of everything, it seems like. So this kind of got put on the back burner temporarily so we can start getting caught up on those out of stock products. But once we get through those and start, making people happy again, because they're on the comments all the time, would be nice to buy if it was in stock. Oh, yeah. So right. Once we get plowed through that and we get some inventory available again, this is definitely something that's still on the table that we want to make. And this is, we've got almost 700 people signed up to be emailed about it when it drops. So we're super stoked about it. This back portion here, this is machined aluminum on this prototype, but we do have an injection molded rubber butt pad for this that will be permanent to the
Nice.
Gun itself. Yeah.
Now, I know you were reluctant about talking about the butt stock, and I apologize for bringing it up, Justin. But
so if you're watching this, it's not coming anytime soon. It's going to be forever.
Don't
away.
even ask. Just sign up for the emails. But it is, at least to me, I see it as a good sign that you're taking more time to make it right rather than just be like, good enough, put it out there. You know, I mean, I would rather wait to buy something that is top notch and ready instead of something like, well, I think it was 75%, you know, ready and it's good enough. So, I mean, that's not a bad thing in my opinion.
So all the comments when we first launched the videos is like, butt stroke it, you know, and we had tested that a few times before. First of all, if you look at the proper butt stroke technique, if they're a grenade, whatever you want to call it, where you basically slam the firearm into the ground and you pull the charging handle, right? Anything, including an M4 with anything with a collapsible stock, the first step is collapse the stock.
Yeah.
Because you can break the button off of the, you know, an M4 stock, but when you collapse it all the way, it doesn't have the pressure on that button. Well, not all stocks, but the original design. And, you know, with the collapse, you can do it all you want. Nothing happens, you know, and then you just grab the stock and pull it back out. With it in its extended position, the early prototypes had a ball bearing design. So they were round forward and backwards. So if you slammed it in the ground, the stock would collapse. This new design will not collapse at all. And it doesn't deform the button or anything. It's a V taper sideways. So it's like this. And then you got the pin that comes through like this. There's absolutely no way you can defeat that by slamming it into the ground. And that was one of the things, like, all right, bet. If you say, if you want to make sure this is grenade proof, like, we'll do it, you know? So that's what the people ask for. And that's what we're delivering with those new rods.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Taking the time to make the product, A, what the people want, and two, reliable, and you get your money's worth out of it. Now, let's talk about the suppressors.
Remember you asked me, you think we can talk for an hour?
Yeah, right. Look at us. We hit an hour. I was nervous. I was nervous that I wouldn't have enough to talk about. I'm halfway through my list. We don't have to go through the whole list, Justin. I know you're a busy man.
You've asked some great questions, and I'm evidently talkative. So,
well, that's good. I like that we got something going here. That's nice. One thing I will mention to you though, before we start talking about the suppressor, because really I only have a few more questions for you. Every time I go to a competition, I hit about 5 decent sized AK competitions every year. JMAC is usually most likely always on the prize table for people to win something. And it's always like one of the top tier prizes. So once again, not stroking your ego, Justin, but thank you for being a great part of the community. And
absolutely. So I don't know if you know this, but last year I set out to put together a competitive shooting team, and we wanted to be more involved in the community. So that was an effort that we really started probably end of 24, early 25. And so now we have a 5-person shooting team that is for JMAC Customs. And the biggest thing that we wanted to change that we saw in competition that we didn't like, we wanted our target audience for a lot of our products, not all of them, is for competitive shooters. You know, the muzzle brakes, the hand guards, the dust covers, the optic mounts, the mag funnels, all these, you know, enhance your ability to shoot fast. And we wanted to make sure that we were at every event that was impactful for the AK and showing up in a positive manner. So our shooters, part of this criteria is 2A's number 1. So like, you're there not because you're this cocky, arrogant shooter that can shoot fast and win trophies. That's cool, but that's not what we're there for. We want to win trophies. Obviously, we want to show that our products work and we have good shooters, and they do. They're awesome. But we wanted to teach the next generation of shooters how to do it safely and talk about the coat of arms and, you know, go into depth on like we were at AK Masters last year and some guns went down of some literal competitors of ours. And our team helped them get their gun back together and running again for the competition. So we want to show up as a positive example for the 2A community, and then as also a positive competitive shooter experience. Because the good shooters, in my experience, when I've been around them, they don't really talk to anybody. They just go shoot their match and they go home. They're not there to be part of the community. They're not there to, and I'm not saying this is everyone. I'm saying
Right.
like the top tier elites. They kind of beat me up. I don't care. They kind of feel like their stuff doesn't stink. You know what I mean? And like, I don't like that. And I don't think that sets a good example for anyone in the industry, period. So we wanted to kind of change that. We wanted to have like, hey, these are just good old boys shooting guns, and, you know, they're fun to hang out with. They'll help you if you need help. And we actually wanted, I reached out to Clay and Tony. I'm like, hey, can we set up at our booth for any competitive shooter that has their guns go down? We'll bring all the tools. They bring the gun to us and we'll completely fix it. Obviously, there's a big safety concern there and hazard with running with guns around. But that's how we want to show up for the community. We want to be like the help. We want to be positive, and we want to, you know, be the ones that set the good example. So we did that. And then like you said, we reach out to pretty much every competitive shooting event that involves an AK, and hey, how can we help you all out? You know, what do you need from us? And yeah, we've made a big effort over the last year and a half to be in the center of that.
That's huge. That is huge. And yeah, props on the JMAC shooting team. I have a shooting team of, well, it's more a band of misfits. It's me and my buddies, and we all go to the same competitions. So after talking to a couple other people, we were just talking about, you know, the jerseyed shooters. And then my buddy Neil was just like, you don't have to be big time, just make a jersey. And I was like, oh yeah. And so, like, you know, I reached out, like, we got a little thing going with Mark, and I got a thing going with Tele Ammo, and like it's me and a couple of my buddies, and we go to all these competitions, and we have these fancy little jerseys that I make every year, and we just have a good time and just try to be cool with everybody, and just like, it should be fun for everybody. Like you said, you don't need to be cocky, arrogant, like, just have fun, man. That's what everybody's there for, you know, shake hands and have a good time. And it's just part of the community. Be a good part of the community and keep it going. That's what it's all about.
And if you're watching this and you make ammo and you want to sponsor a competitive shooting team, please reach out, because that's our biggest drawback right now is, you know, that feeding the guns. So,
yeah, dude, it's like, okay, see, and I had this discussion with somebody. They're like, I wish I could get a sponsorship from this company or like maybe like this. And I'm like, you guys are thinking about it all wrong. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't care if somebody sponsors me a car. I'll supply my car. I want somebody to pay for the gas. You know?
There you go.
I was like, that's the big one. You want somebody to pay for the gas. Bring your own car, you know.
For sure.
Nobody realizes that it's the gas that you need to keep going. But okay, we've been talking for a while. The suppressors, how you feeling about the suppressors coming out?
Amazing.
Yeah,
so,
they look fantastic.
Thank you. We man, I've been shooting suppressed AKs since it was like way before it was cool. And I don't say that in like any other way other than it was hard to do back in the day. You know, I had to make a custom like 24.5 by 28 adapter at the machine shop, and then I could put the AAC 51 tooth flash hider on it. And then I could put my SDN6 on the end, and I got a whole. It's probably been taken down by now. A lot of our old YouTube videos were completely deleted, but you know, I was trying to figure out ways to run a suppressor on an AK back in the day. And, you know, at that time, I didn't know the first part, of course, is mounting a suppressor. That's the biggest hurdle that you had then. And, you know, we've worked with Dead Air, and we've worked with a few other companies on standardizing those mounts for AKs, and really just putting suppressor mounts out for AK. So if you're looking for an AK suppressor mount, it's very likely that we have it, and we've been working on those for 6 or 7 years, probably manufacturing those. But, you know, the biggest issue with mounting a suppressor on an AK is there is no shoulder. And everybody that mounts a suppressor prior to that is used to an AR-15 where they have a shoulder. You thread the muzzle device against the shoulder. You see how many shims you need. You put your shims on, you thread it back on, and you slap your suppressor on. You don't even check it with an alignment rod. Like that was the typical AR,
Right.
type thing. And then with the AK, it's like, you better check it with an alignment rod because it's likely the alignment rod's touching. But the whole face mount thing, I don't know why it took so long to catch on, honestly. And like I've been preaching it for years, and people just didn't seem to like understand the like, why can't I just put this muzzle device up against my front sight block? Well, it's because it's cast and it's not square, so like it's not going to work out for you. So before we ever made the suppressor, it was all about the mounts and being able to attach an AK or a suppressor to an AK. Issue 1. Issue 2, the AK is extremely reliable. And why is it extremely reliable? Because it has an obnoxiously oversized gas port for the most part. And factory, no suppressor, just shooting a muzzle brake or a flash hider. You can run 50,000 rounds on a, Complock AK, any of these behind me, and you're probably not going to have any major issues, right? Your barrel is going to be shot out by then. But other than that, it's still going to be running. The biggest issue with adding a suppressor to an AK is that obnoxiously overgassed system becomes even more overgassed.
Yeah.
And now you're beating the trunnion out of the back of your receiver, and you're eating gas in the, in the face. And I always said that if I'd made a suppressor for the AK, it had to tackle those two problems. It has to be easy to mount, and it has to reduce the amount of gas pressure, the back pressure of the system. So we made this first prototype, and it was designed to be low back pressure, and it looks kind of cool. It's got the original, like, the AK suppressor look with a wider rear portion.
Right.
But it was, a traditional baffle stack with some weep holes that would allow to be lower back pressure. But when we tested it, it was about the same back pressure as one of the most popular AK cans on the market. So it didn't quite meet my expectations. Sounded great, worked as good as that other can, but it was just too much back pressure. So you're gonna have to put a K&S piston, you're gonna have to do a recoil spring, you have to do all these upgrades to run this, and enjoy it. So we went back to the drawing board, and we've been working with Richmond Tactical on this project, and we decided to link up with them because we talked to a few other people about manufacturing suppressors. They were either too busy or we just didn't align properly. Richmond Tactical has the same exact approach to quality and precision that we do, and their craftsmanship is just phenomenal. So as we're working on this, Ramon's like, hey, we've got this other design that we haven't really released yet, and we don't really have the marketing team like you do. So what we're thinking is, why don't we use the technology that we've already developed to make a can for you, and then we co-brand it and co-market it. So I'm all about co-branding, co-marketing. Like, I think that's huge in the industry, and we're probably one of the friendliest companies with working with other companies. We see other companies as, a way for us both to grow together versus as competition. And a lot of people don't, by the way. Yeah. But we work well with a lot of companies. So he had this design where it's dual chamber. So right here's let me see if I can see that. That's on this side. Take this apart. Dual chamber front exhaust. So this is basically like two suppressors in one. Okay. This ring inside here seals on the outside of this baffle. Okay.
Okay.
So you've got holes straight through this suppressor on the outside, and that's a whole separate chamber, completely isolated from the traditional like baffle stack down the middle here.
Right.
And this allows that initial pressure to completely dissipate instantly. So you don't have that initial, like the blast chamber doesn't cause all that gas to come back in the gun. It goes down the outsides of the suppressor, and then the interior of the suppressor is what reduces the sound. And we do have, of course, that's the reason why we want to reduce the gas is obviously you don't want to change a bunch of components out. You want to put this on any gun without any modifications.
Right.
But also with the AK, the loudest part of shooting a suppressed AK is the gas rushing out of the chamber. I call it port pop. And it's a term, I don't know if it existed pre-me, but like that's the word that I've used to describe it. But that port pop is the absolute loudest part of shooting a suppressed AK. So by sending that gas out the front, we were able to reduce the port pop, making the shooter's experience better. And, you know, ultimately the original suppressor tests and the original usage of a suppressor was probably more to mask your location versus making it better for the shooter. And I think a lot more companies recently they're coming out with cans that make the shooting experience better versus masking your location. But what we wanted to do too is if you want it to be low back pressure, non-gassy, you use the vented end cap. If you want it to be super quiet and you want to mask your location and you want to run on a bolt gun, you run the non-vented cap. So then now it's a traditional suppressor with an additional chamber system. And man, it just sounds great. The first time we tested it, I actually tested this a modular design. We ended up ditching the modular because it's just too expensive to market it or to put it on the market. But man, this on a 105, oh my gosh, I've never had that nice of a shooting experience with an AK. Never. Like there was nothing that even compared. I called Ramon. I'm like, dude, winner. Like, let's go. This is it. This is the one, like 100%. I was like, this one completely blows the other one out of the water. There is not even a comparison between the two. And the other thing too is you can run this full auto with or without the suppressor, and it's the same exact rate of fire. So it doesn't have, we call it as minimal low back pressure as possible. It's almost no back pressure. And man, I couldn't be happier with the performance and the shooting experience and, you know, our relationship with Richmond Tactical and all that. It's just gone extremely well. And it's probably one of the most exciting products we've put, for me, on the market in a while because it's so unique and so different than anything we've done in the past.
Nice. Well, hopefully I can convince one of my friends outside of my great state to buy one and I'll get to try one out. But Justin, last question. I know, like I said, you're a busy man. You got a huge company that just breaking barriers all over the AK world with new parts and new fancy things. I know now you're more into the healthiness style of life. What's your favorite cereal, though?
Ooh, dude, I haven't had cereal in a long time.
Okay, let's think about it. Dwell on this one.
When I was eating cereal, I liked Special K with strawberries. That was really a good one. Yep. And then, man, it's hard to beat Lucky Charms, dude. Those marshmallows.
Yeah.
Lucky Charms guy. And then, was it Life that had the cinnamon with the little square?
Oh, that's awesome. Yes.
Yeah. Life was a good one. I think I'm going to leave it at those three. I think those would be top.
I ask everybody what their favorite breakfast. A lot of people are like, I haven't eaten cereal in years. And I'm like, I know, but there's got to be something. There's got to be something that just pops in your head. I mean, everybody's had a bowl of cereal, unless you're lactose intolerant. I mean, you might have had something other than whatever. Anyways, I'll let you get on with your day. I can't thank you enough for this, man. I very much appreciate it. If there's anything else I missed that you'd like to talk about, or I'm sure if you know anything,
if anybody saw a recent post or visited Clash Bash, I'm sure they kind of want to see this. Maybe not. I don't know.
Vanguard.
But I figured this hasn't been shown outside of Clash Bash in the one post on social media.
In the post, yeah.
It's going to be here as the first, man. So this is backstory. MMS-1 is designed to be ultra lightweight, minimalistic, free float, increases accuracy, allows you to attach lasers on the gas tube and then flashlights on the handguard, and of course any M-lock accessories you wanted. once again, we took feedback from our customers. It was split. Some people absolutely loved it, said it's the best handguard on the market. Other people say, I don't like that it is free float because you can, grab the barrel and push the handguard and it, you can actually deflect the handguard. That was part of the design. And that's what, when you install our MMS1, whatever you want to call it, it actually improved the inherent accuracy of the firearm. So I was happy with it. I know that there's a whole different subsegment that wanted the military style, that wanted the Zenitco style.
Right.
And we'd been working on it in the background for a while, but we're to the point now where we're ready to show off the designs. We're getting ready to make the extrusions and it looks pretty sweet.
It does look pretty fantastic.
Here is right now we don't have a name for it. I've been calling it the MIL, the military version. This is all of them will be 1913 on the bottom. That's okay. That's take it or leave it. You can't. This is all 1913. There will be no M-LOK version of this. We can do M-LOK from about here to here, but here forward, we're going to have 1913 to clear the retainer and the bayonet lug and some other things. This handguard does a cleaning rod, which is a major issue with most modern handguards. So obviously this one won't because there's no gap. But this will accept a cleaning rod. It goes all the way back into the receiver. And this is a two-part design where the upper, slides down and bolts to the lower on the sides. The one thing that we wanted that we didn't like about the current offerings is the M-LOK was interrupted on pretty much all of them. So like you would have bolts between M-LOKs and it would be out of M-LOK spec. Or like Zenitco, that's Zenitco. So like there's no M-LOK, there's no way to attach something unless you buy a Zenitco adapter to like a 1913.
Right.
This is fully functional M-LOK up top here. You can mount a flashlight here if you want. And this is true spec Stenag, which is another issue with some of the handguards where you can't fit some accessories on it. I'm not going to call out who does that, but that's also another issue where you've got some compatibility problems. And then, this version versus our other version is this has a gas tube cover versus a billet gas tube. And the gas tube cover in theory and in practice is less, you don't have to worry about people frying their lasers or burning their hands and that sort of thing. This extrusion profile is tri-rail. So this could be a quad. We can machine it as a quad, or we can do hybrid M-LOK and 1913. So there will be a quad version, and it'll be 1913 all the way back to here, actually, all the way back to the receiver itself over the mount. So it'll be gnarly. It's going to be heavy. But for people that want that, cool.
Right.
The other cool thing that we did is this is actually M-LOK in 1913. So you can use an M-LOK accessory on the bottom here. You just need a longer bolt to make it happen, but it's possible. It's not true M-LOK spec because it's embedded in 1913. So some accessories might fit, some might not. But I've tested it with a few here, and I haven't had any problems yet. So you're depending on the bolt to hold it in place, though, not the M-LOK emboss itself. Important to note there. And then, of course, this is compatible with all of our dust covers, our mag funnels, and that sort of thing. So once we got the MMS on the market, we found out that people were more interested in accessories. Not everyone. The certain crowd, we're more interested in, I want your dust cover and I want your mag funnel, but I don't like your handguard. This solved that for that group of people.
Nice. Well, that looks fancy. I can't wait to go back to work next week, work some serious overtime, and get ready for that to come out so I can purchase myself one.
Well, good thing you know the owner.
Yeah, right.
He might hook you up.
Yeah, man. One thing. I thought, okay, I had to write this down because I forgot to bring this up. When I first started talking to you and I was getting some stuff, buying stuff from you, and I bought that gas tube or the dust cover, I'm sending you a message like, man, this dust cover is awesome, this, that, the other. And you're like, hey, just, take pictures of it, tag me, collab, whatever. I'm like, okay. I made a nice, cool little video of me shooting it. And I just messaged you. I was like, do you care if I throw your logo in this little video? You're like, absolutely not. Go ahead. And then I made this little reel on Instagram and it got me banned. and they said I was trying to sell stuff. And then I was like, oh no. And then like I looked and it wasn't on your page anymore. And I was like, oh no. I was like, did I get him in trouble too? And I was like, I got banned. And they like put me on like a 48-hour or something banned where I couldn't do anything. And then like I think it might have happened to you or something. And I was just like, oh no, I hope Justin's not mad at me. But then I was worried for a while there. I was like, that's it. Justin doesn't like me anymore because I just got us both flagged on something stupid for making a cool little video. So
man, that's like a once a year thing for us. We lose our page or we get, to the point where we can't post or can't go live or whatever. We get so many restrictions, but recently, do you know Darwin?
I believe so.
He's been working with Meta and he helped us out tremendously recently. So, I mean, both of our pages had like the 4 red marks. Yeah. On them, and he was able to get those cleared off. And he's been working with the companies trying to say, look, JMAC, for example, they're an FFL. They have their licensing. Why can't we just have them submit documentation saying we can own machine guns, we can do whatever we want, we can technically sell. He's like, why can't you do the blue check mark for like celebrities? Why can't we do like a red or green check mark or whatever other color for FFLs? Like, here's an FFL so they can post gun content. And I'm not saying you should restrict it only to FFLs, but he's saying like, literally, dude, like, why not? This is like, they're paying to be able to do what they're doing and you're restricting them. That's only the first step. The second step is everybody should have freedom to post, but I get it. It's a private organization and freedom of speech is not available in a private business. So, well,
all red check marks aside, I'm still glad that we're talking right now.
Absolutely. Likewise, dude.
But I'll let you get on with your day, man. I can't thank you enough. I very much appreciate it. And if you're listening, hit up JMAC. They got everything from grips to handguards to muzzle brakes to dust covers to everything. Honestly, I mean, everything. I'm trying to think of something that you don't make that you can put on a gun, but I'm pretty sure if you just go through the website, you can find almost everything that you would almost ever want. And that's honestly, like, for real. But yeah, thank you very much, man. I can't thank you enough. And it's been great.
I want to let you in on a little secret. I can't tell you what it is, but in the next month or so, we might revisit the podcast because I've got some exciting news for the AK. So it's even more exciting than anything I've shown you here today.
Oh man, I can't wait. I will. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Now I'm excited. And I do have a muzzle device in my cart I will be ordering later today.
I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, me and Mark made a Galil and I've been looking for a nice muzzle device for it. And I found it last night and it's on sale. Lucky me.
Wednesdays. I want to let everybody know if you don't care. Do you care if I let them in on a secret?
Dude.
Number 1, sign up for our newsletter. I'm not doing that to sell you stuff. I'm doing that to make sure you get the best deals. That's where the discount codes go out, and that's where all the deals happen. Wednesdays, we've been trying to do a promotions day. So even if you don't choose to sign up for the newsletter, try to make it a point to go to the websites on Wednesdays. I know people are always asking for deals, so I'm trying to give the best way to find that. And then the banner in the top, it'll tell you what we're promoting that Wednesday. So that we're calling it Midweek Madness. And I think today, which obviously won't matter because, we're on the podcast and this won't go live until whenever you choose for it to go live. But like today's grip bundles. So skeleton grip, plus skeleton forward grip, or, our solid pistol grip plus the tab at a discounted rate. So those are the best 2 ways to get, discounts from us. And we do it weekly. So, it's micro weekly, but
there you go. Sign up for the newsletter. Quit being cheap. Quit crying. JMAC's got your back Wednesdays.
There you go.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate everybody for watching and or listening. And stay tuned because JMAC's always got something fancy coming out. So keep your peepers peeled and be ready. And,
thanks for having me, man.
Oh, really, dude. Much appreciated, buddy. I can't thank you enough. I've probably said that 10 times already, but I'm like trying not to fanboy out. But anyways, I'm out of here. Justin, have yourself a good day. And once again, thank you for listening. Tell a friend, tell a homie, and we'll get out of here.
Shooter ready.
Yep.
Shooter ready? Stand by.
Shooter, are you ready? Stand by.
Stand by.